Hello and welcome to this weekend edition of Crossover. I'm Yi Shu in Beijing, and today I'm very proud to present to you two of the youngest guests that we've ever had at Crossover. 14-year-old Victoria Yin and 10-year-old Zoe Yin are considered art prodigies, and today they're here to tell us about their craft. Welcome to Crossover.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited to have you. You know, you have your first exhibition here in China, right?
Right.
So are you missing school to be here?
Yes.
That must be kind of fun.
Well, you know,
playing a little hooky.
Right. Good and bad sides. You know, missing school is obviously hard, but, you know, it's fun because we like China. It's a good place, yeah.
This isn't your first time to China, though,
No,
right?
We came to Beijing actually in August of this year, but we've actually been to China quite a few times before, you know, visiting family and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you've gained a lot of recognition and fame in the U.S., and now you're here in China. What was that reception like? I heard that you had an amazing reception when you had that opening ceremony.
Right. We were, of course, extremely honored, but the feeling of, like, you know, everybody coming to see us, there were like many people, and I almost felt overwhelmed, but it was extremely exciting. And, you know, my sister and I were always talking about it. You know, before it actually started, we're like, oh my God, you know.
Zoe, how about for you? Were you I heard there were hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
Were you surprised there were so many people to come and look at your paintings?
First time I've seen so many people, so I felt a bit overwhelmed, just as my sister said.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at some video from that opening ceremony.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll recognize yourselves as well as that ceremony. Let's take a look. I think the Chinese people are so proud of you. You know, even though you were born and raised in the U.S., we still think, you know, of you as Chinese.
Yeah, because it was definitely a very interesting feeling, and, you know, seeing myself there. Of course, when I was like there myself, I was like, you know, kind of like, you know, engaged in conversation with everybody. I didn't actually get to, you know, see too much of the event, and now that I see it, it's kind of almost hard to believe. Yeah.
A little bit like you know, a dream, right?
Yeah.
So how long have both of you been painting for? You started when you were...
Of course, yeah, I started first. I started drawing, you know, when I was 1 year old. Right, and we still have, you know, pictures, and we kept, you know, the original drawings, and it's kind of fun to look back on. But I started watercolor when I was 4 years old. And
do you remember that still, 4-year-old?
I have recollection, yeah, but of course then it was just a hobby. But after that I moved on to acrylic when I was 8 years old. And
8 years old, starting with acrylic.
Right, so I've been using that ever since.
So so using that medium now, it's been about 6 years. How about for you, Zoe? When did you start?
Because I followed along with my sister, I obviously started much younger than her. I started drawing when I was 1 and started painting when I was 4.
Wow. How would you describe your styles? Because when I look at your paintings, they are very different from each other. Even though you're sisters, you have a very different aesthetic.
Yes, definitely.
How would you? I'll start with Zoe. How would you describe your style?
Well, I love fairy tales and fantasy a lot because ever since when I was very young, my parents and my older sister would read me these fantasy books, and so you can see that my paintings relate to them a lot.
They're very romantic, even, you know, like a very romantic figures.
Yeah.
She reads so much, always has a book with her, so, you know, it affects her.
I heard you a lot too.
Yes, I do.
What do you like to write about? Also fantasy?
Well, you know, as an artist, you know, describing your own style is always a very hard thing to do. When you try to like define your artwork, it's almost like putting a limit to yourself.
Oh,
So, yeah, right. So I don't like to kind of, frame my artwork saying that this is my specific style, this is only what I do. For each artwork, it's different. It's like an experiment. So each one comes out, sometimes it comes out as I expect, and other times, perhaps it takes a different direction. So rather than, saying it's this one whole thing, I like to describe each artwork like separately.
Individually. So then each artwork, which is your favorite painting?
My favorite painting is a very large scale painting. I did it when I was 12. Actually, in the book we released, it's the on the front cover. Right.
This is the book, right? It's this one, yes.
Right, it's this one. Yeah.
It's quite a large. It is a
yes,
large
it's
piece.
very large scale. When I was working on it, it's like more taller than I am. So when I was working on it, it always felt like I was in the scene itself because it was definitely...
It's bigger than you,
right,
many times.
But I'm very interested in, modern science and things like that. So basically, the course that humans are taking as technology advances. And, as you can see in the painting, it's composed of various figures that are, very similar, in fact, almost exactly the same. So this is based on the concept of cloning, which is, replicating cells, having them like, clones of each other.
There is a very futuristic quality to these creatures, I guess, if they're humans or. But a lot of people have said that you have a very mathematical quality. It's very geometric.
Right.
Are you good at math? In school?
Yeah, I enjoy math. Yes, definitely. It's definitely, different from art. People often say, oh yeah, it's like, you're artsy and then math is a completely different thing. But, I don't think of it that way. I love geometry and, it's definitely, math is a little bit, abstract. So it has to do with art a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
It does connect, right?
Right, yes.
What about, for you, Zoe, which one is your favorite painting?
My favorites of my painting change constantly. Like after I finish one painting, then I look at it a lot and I go like, wow, it's not so bad. And then when I look at it even more, it starts turning even better. So when I start a new painting, then I go like, wow, it's better than the last one I did.
So it's getting better and better.
Constantly improving.
And now I'm just, Zoe, you're 10 years old. So when you start to paint, do you even have an idea of what you're painting, or you just start going at it?
Well, that's like, it's like a burst of inspiration, but I believe inspiration can come from anywhere at any time. So there's always something inside of me that like tells me what to paint.
Not only very talented, but you're also very, both of you seem so wise.
Thank you.
Very old souls in both of you. Now, today we have a canvas, and I know we're going to invite both of you up here to paint something that inspires you. So who wants to go first today?
I guess I'll go.
Victoria, you want to go first? Okay, oldest goes first. We're going to let you go ahead and go and start preparing your paints, your colors, and you could go at it on that canvas. And in the meantime, we're going to invite your mother, Eva, onto the stage to talk to us.
How are you?
Eva,
So glad
it's
to
a
meet
pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please have a seat. Oh, Eva, I can only imagine how proud you must be of your two daughters.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we are very glad. We're so honored and so blessed.
A lot of people must think, oh, Victoria, Zoe, they must come from a very artistic family. Is that true? Where did their talents come from?
Well, many people ask me these questions when we go to auctions. It's kind of hard for me to answer, but what we can say is both my husband and I are not artists.
Not artists?
Not artists, yeah. He's a biomedical scientist. Has nothing to do with art. Actually has no concept of color or anything related to art.
Really?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
I am myself is more or less involved in design, that type of area, in architecture.
You're architect,
yeah.
okay.
So anyway, so all along the way, I'm learning from my daughter. In terms of any art-related subject.
Wow, so they're teaching you about art.
Me, yes.
But they must, as an architect,